Welcome to
Stayfhomekins. We're a married couple.
My name is Paul F. Tompkins.
My name is Janie Haddad Tompkins.
I'm a comedian.
I'm an actress.
Together,
we're the Homekins.
Together, we're the Homekins. This is a podcast we're doing during quarantine. We've been doing it for, what episode is this now?
I think it's 12.
So 12 weeks. And we are here now.
We're still here.
Feeling weird.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
It's been quite a week.
We're in a moral moment.
And
it's been like there's been good things, but there's been frightening things.
What are the good things?
That people are speaking up and that...
Well, yes, that's true.
Okay.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
My mind immediately went to 50 bad things.
Well, there's been a lot of bad things, but I think it's like kind of rad.
Yeah.
That like there's this huge mobilization across the country, and I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really heartbreaking time, but at the same time, to see everyone mobilized and saying this is wrong. I'm imagining somebody listening to this
that doesn't know what's going on.
Like in the future,
like 3
catching
years
up
from
on
now,
this podcast,
and they're like, "I live in another country and I want to learn about America," and then they're like, "What the hell are they?"
If you live in another country, please
don't listen to us to learn about America.
This is for Americans. Don't let other countries know about the stuff that's happening here.
Oh my God.
It'll make us look so bad. Please don't tell them. Nobody snitch.
There's so many layers to what's going on. First of all, Paul won't let me have my weekend water until our intermission.
Here's the thing. This podcast was supposed to be and is supposed to be a diversion because first
a distraction,
an
escape.
It's like you have to think about these, first you had to think about this terrible quarantine.
Yes, and we've lost over 100,000 lives to Corona.
Okay. We don't need to reinforce.
I thought we were going to talk about it for people in the future.
No, that's not the idea.
But there's a tragedy surrounding the pandemic in addition to...
Yes, but I didn't want to get into the specifics of a body count.
All right, it's fine. Our idea was to be a diversion because it fucking sucks to be alive in 2020.
Yes, and people are stuck at home, and there's there's in addition to the quarantine, there's just the regular old evils of the world that we have to deal with, and things are for I will say for people like us are coming to a head because we don't have to think about the world in the same way that a lot of people we know do. No,
we have to think about we have to basically confront like whiteness as a fucking pathology.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Yeah.
It is. And it drives people to, kind of buy into this narrative that you have to like dismiss an entire segment of society in order to keep what you have.
Yeah.
And that's a false construct.
I have long had a theory.
Yeah.
That one of the things that perpetuates not just the systemic injustice in this country and the world, but the people that are okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is that no one wants to feel like they've done something wrong.
Well, there's definitely...
But hold on a second. So what people are afraid of is that if they admit, yes, there is systemic injustice in this country. Yes, the police are bad. Like the policing in this country is horrendous.
The criminals are the ones. It's the criminals that are policing this country.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you admit that, you then have to all of a sudden say that means I'm a bad person. But that's not what it means. What it means is that you are admitting, yes, I grew up this way. I grew up in a certain way, understanding this much about the world from my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you were telling me this, I believe you and I understand more than I did before. I understand how I've been an unwitting part of this, and I'm not going to be an unwitting part of it anymore. That's all you have to do.
Right.
But people want it to be like you have to say, "Oh, I'm because if I admit that means I'm saying that I'm evil."
I'm not the racist one. It's the person that's da-da-da. It's what you're like describing white fragility. And for me, like, it's like I've had to confront something, and this is something that I've had to work on in therapy, and it actually relates to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And something I've had to confront in myself is how easily manipulated I am. Because like even just this week, like people were posting like pictures of a lot of violence, which I hate. Like I don't even like violent movies, but I understand that we need to witness this stuff, and it's fucking awesome that videos exist for accountability.
I know.
But the other side of it was people were like posting kind of like these pictures of like cops like marching with people.
Yep.
And I find my own like the own weakness in my own personality, which I don't think where I want to believe that there are like good people, like I want to believe the good and I want to kind of like turn away from the bad because and I also have like this kind of like crazed sense of justice because I grew up as the youngest in my family. I know it's like I'm turning this personal, but it's the only way I can do it because I can't speak to the world.
Exactly, but turning it personal, that's how you relate to a situation you don't understand. Is
that's
you have to transpose it to like what is my buy-in to that feeling that people are telling me they have?
Right.
Have I ever felt voiceless? Have I ever felt helpless? Have I ever felt like dismissed? You know, if you can find a place in your life,
and everybody has, like every human being,
absolutely,
has.
very few exceptions.
Yeah.
But if you can,
it's part of the human experience.
Yeah. But if you can find that place in your life, then you can say, "Oh, this is what it is like for these people." That feeling that I had that I hated, this is their feeling every
minute.
Day.
Yeah. Well, I find like my kind of crazed sense of justice like gets me in trouble in my personal life where I'm like I just like I think my parents did this to us too, because if my brother got like one gift on his birthday, like I also would get one gift or what it was like because we were like 2,
right?
And but then after like puberty, it became super different. Like he could stay out until midnight, but I had to come and knock on the door at 10, or like where it was like I started to become aware of this sense of justice not being a constant. And so I think in my mind, it's like I want things to be fair so fucking bad that like I mean, like I watched that guy in Minneapolis shoot that guy in a car in front of his daughter.
Yeah.
And I just assume like, oh, they're going to send him to jail. And so like I turn away
How
from
could they not, right?
Yeah. And so like I turn away from the news. And then of course that doesn't happen until like months later.
Yeah.
But I'm just like assuming like, yeah, they got him or whatever. And it's like, no, justice is actual work.
Yeah.
Like it's not like there's somebody like overlooking and now we're seeing that too, like in like with William Barr and stuff. Like I won't even get into all of that, but well, although it's related in a way, but like, yeah, I just find that I have to like allow myself to be more attuned to things that like are real, like people being fucking terrible or people being that are raised different and they think different and they it's hard because and the older you get, you surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And you go into professions where you have like-minded communities and stuff, and so you kind of think everything's chugging along okay.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's like millions of examples of that. But like,
Absolutely.
anyway, this is like my own thing. I'm trying to like, cause we were supposed to reflect this week and like educate ourselves. So this is sort of like where I've landed, like in my own personal, how my personality can get manipulated by things, and sort of, you know, like I buy into this ideal, like that, you know, we're a melting pot or something, you know?
Yeah. But you're not alone in that, first of all, because when I was seeing images of like the Camden police, I guess, which is as far as police forces go, have they have very few excessive force complaints. And
Where is that one?
Camden, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. So they
And so
have
there
like
was-
they have like a less toxic.
Yeah, there was videos of like the cops marching literally arm in arm with protesters. And I see that, and same thing. It's like I wanted to believe that we were not in an impossible situation. And I wanted, of course, you know, and they're counting on that. You know, they're counting on us feeling that way.
Yes.
And wanting to get past
Sure, it's a PR.
the rage and the anger.
It's a PR spin.
Yeah.
I get it on the one. Listen.
It's like all the kneeling, and then an hour later, you know.
Well,
they're
so wait,
tear
are
gassing
the
people.
Camden police better than other ones?
According to
find
this,
out?
according to this study, yes.
Well, in a way, that is a useful thing to know about, because that means that there is a model that exists where the police don't have to be criminals.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But so I guess on the one hand, like I want to feel that hope, I want to feel that optimism, but in order to make room for that optimism, I also have to feel the despair. And I think it's like hard to feel the despair. It's like hard to confront the despair.
It fucking is, man. But that's our job right now, is to feel that despair and to feel angry and to feel motivated to change it. And that's what we got to do. I mean, look, we got so heavy into it. I was unsure about, you were unsure about recording last week, and I was unsure about recording this week.
I was like, I don't think we should have a show last week. And Paul's like, no, people need comedy, and they need, like, it's an important, like, you know, pillar in
People
living.
need a break, you know?
And
need
I
a
was like,
fucking
okay. And then this week rolls around, and Paul's like, I think we need to rethink. And I was like, wait a minute, you docked me into that whole like comedy is necessary, or like or lightness is necessary. I guess
which I stand
this
by.
This isn't really comedy.
Which I stand by. But here's
Is it?
what
It's not.
I guess technically it is.
I mean, that means anything could be
I do
comedy.
say at the beginning I'm a comedian. That means anything can be comedy.
I'm just saying, like, it's just so I know everyone out there are like having these, you know, feelings of emotions and pain and grief and outrage and, you know, I don't know. But there have been like so many amazing, like, just today, the mayor of DC spray painted Black Lives Matter on the street. And I think
awesome.
First of all, it looks amazing.
And he renamed the street.
She.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She.
I did not know that. I didn't know who the mayor. Wow.
Oh my God.
I did not know that.
Well, that's okay. I mean, I didn't know about her until today, or until this week, I mean, because here's what's so crazy. This is like a little side note in all of this. Between the pandemic and racial injustice and brutality and violence and injustices, there has been a real exposure of these municipal leaders that you just vote for and set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I should say, well, the mayor of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I think I voted for him because he ran on this platform of like, oh, we're going to tackle homelessness because we have a real homelessness epidemic here.
We found out he meant literally.
That
cops were tackling homeless people.
Sweeping
them up.
Well, he was like I voted for this tax. And I was like, yes, throw all the money at it, throw all the mines at it, let's do this. And he hasn't done squat. And then I don't know, like all of these people that I don't know about. I didn't know about
all the city council people and everything, and
we're just well, there's been a lot of them in the news because
you gonna say the chief of police?
The chief of police. Like, I don't know. Like, do we elect him? No, he gets appointed by the mayor, I guess. But I voted for that mayor, so like, I guess like, you know how they're like, you really need to pay attention to the local level, and I like kind of thought I was doing that. I thought I was.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a joke how much I wasn't.
Yeah. There's so much more to it than we realize.
Well, yeah. Like, well, and also like you have to dig hard to know about these people because, you know, like a lot of times I'll ask my smart politics friends and I'll be like, okay, who am I supposed to vote for? Like in the local blah, blah, blah. And they're like, this person's endorsed by these groups. And I'm like, okay, yes, school is important or this is important, you know, and then I just like take their word. And then judges, sometimes I'm just like, that's a cool name. I don't know. Like, who, you know, and I'm like, okay. Because, like, no one will tell you about those people at all. Like, I don't know how you, like, you just go to the website and they're like, they did this for 3 years or they worked here for 3 years. And, like, oh, they might be smart about education or they, you know, blah, blah, blah. And now I feel like I was like, the joke's on me. I was a low informed voter.
Local politics is tough because there's a million people. There are people that affect different neighborhoods that are not your own. And then there's issues like we don't have kids, but the school thing is important to a lot of people and certainly people that we know and care about.
Well, yeah, we have property taxes.
So
though.
there's
so you want to be on top of that, how they spend that.
Yes, that as well. But there's I want to recommend. I know it's too early for recommendations, but a podcast called LA Podcast. If you are a Los Angeles person, that is a great podcast that's about local politics. And it's really it's fun and entertaining.
I might check that out because I feel like I just like relied on people for that. And I do follow politics a lot on the national level because it's kind of like become sports in a way, which is not great.
Yeah.
What other things like so this week I decided to in
wait.
the spirit of like
hold on, I forgot something. So one of the things that was making me think we shouldn't record this week.
Oh right.
Was that all this past week has been us talking about this. Nothing's happened except this.
I've talked a lot about it. I have literally been like soul searching and like trying to do deep thinking and like
we've just been like watching the news and being online and making donations and sharing links and shit like that.
Yes.
And I thought my concern was, what do we have to talk about? And is it just going to be a bummer?
But here's the thing about this as a conversation. It's the problem is like the conversation should never stop.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of like the whole idea is that we allowed the conversation to stop. Mm-hmm. We settled into a complacency.
That's right.
And so the idea now is like, hey, don't remember when you fell into that complacency? Like people got killed.
Yeah.
So you need to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know? And so I guess it's okay that it's part of the talk all the time in a way.
No, it has to be. I agree. And I think that what's happening now is everyone is realizing like we did,
mm-hmm.
you know, the people that had not had to like we did not have to deal with this in a certain way.
Oh, someone's at the door. I have to pause. Can you hold up?
You go to the door and I'll keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just gonna talk to?
Yeah. Finally, this is what I wanted the show to be the whole time.
Wait a minute.
I think that what we are realizing is that we can't keep waiting to do something about it, and we have to just decide now that nobody, you know, everyone's got a bunch of free time on their hands. Now is the time to do it. We have to do it. We have to force this reform to happen, and we can't just keep waiting for it to go away.
I know you were like talking to me, but I also started talking to our UPS guy,
mm-hmm.
but I missed the gist.
Just that the conversation has to.
Conversation.
Yes, this is the time. This is the time that we have to make it happen.
Yes.
since we all, are just hanging out.
Well, I was saying too, or like how the pandemic really, it's a horrible thing that we're all out of work and we're all like being told to just like stay at home and everything.
Yeah.
And we're scared of our health. And it's like this.
We're scared of the future. Like what's going to happen,
Scared of the future. We're scared of like our, older people and compromised people.
I'm terrified of older people.
But because of the pandemic in this very moment, because it collided with these events, with these brutality events in succession,
mm-hmm.
people had the time.
That's what I just said.
Oh. I promise you I had that thought before he did. But it's fine.
That's the proof is that you didn't hear me. Don't worry. Everyone understands. Don't worry.
Oh, my God. Wait. When are we allowed to make our drink?
Oh, okay. That was the other thing that I requested was I said, can we let's not start drinking before the podcast.
I know. And I was like, Paul, I'm going to be white knuckling it until the end because all I've thought this entire week is how I can't wait till Friday night so I can have my weekend water.
Me too.
And I said, okay, fine. We can start the podcast totally sober as a judge. And then as soon as I said, can we get a drink? Here's what I said. I said, can we make a drink and set it next to us and look at it until I was allowed? And he said, why don't we just...
What am I, Caesar Milan?
I don't know who that is.
He's the dog whisperer, honey.
What is he? Oh, it's like
I'm
like your puppy.
Yeah.
That you're like...
And I put a treat on the kitchen floor. And you're not allowed to touch it until I say it's okay.
No, but I did want to mention this before you take our break because I don't know if the topic is going to swerve, but we were supposed to be really introspective this week and think about our role and everything. That was sort of the suggestion. And so I've been rewatching Eyes on the Prize, mm-hmm. which is a 14-part documentary series that covers the civil rights movement. And I had seen...
When did it come out?
Like, I want to say it came out in like 92 or
yeah. I remember
something.
Watching it when it first
I watched it in like when I was like in college or something. Probably grad school because it was in the 90s. But anyway, so I watched it, but, and then a lot of people were saying how the times right now felt specifically like 1968. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I knew like 1968 was crazy, but I always just kind of thought like, oh, the 60s are crazy. Like, in my mind, like I kind of lumped it like all in. I'm not really good at history, y'all. I like history, but I'm like terrible at it. Like it has to be in front of my face for me to retain it. But like, so I was like, I'm going to watch Eyes on the Prize. It's on the Canopy app, which is the library streaming app. Because I couldn't find it anywhere. Because we also have the PBS app and it was not on there.
Wow.
Because I think it goes too far back in the canon or something. So anyway, so it's on the Canopy app and I started watching it again. And what I found interesting was I had remembered a lot of leading up to Martin Luther King's assassination, and but not so much after that, because that's such a big moment, in the history of the civil rights movement. But that happened in 1968.
Yeah, and
then like Bobby Kennedy, like a minute later, and then they like set up this camp out on the lawn of the freaking on the mall or whatever they call it in DC, and they were there for like months, like the Resurrection City. It was like Occupy Wall Street, but it was like for poverty and all this. It was like this whole thing in 1968, and all these things happened. Like it really was that was kind of the kookiest year. Like it was like where people did not know, and then at the end, like Nixon got elected.
Yeah. Because he was going to restore.
So the whole thing was like reversed, and I was like, oh, maybe they felt the way we did when Trump got elected or something. But I don't know. 1968 was like, people must have felt like pretty scared about what was happening.
Yeah, people were scared and they were angry, and it was time for things to change. And then the really depressing thing is that so little has changed. And in watching that documentary, it's like people are talking about today.
I know.
It's baffling.
It is the
how
same.
Little we've come.
It is a lot. Oh,
and people think we all thought it. We all thought like, oh, we've come so far since then.
Well,
and we haven't.
I think in some ways, I mean, technology brought us along, and I don't know, like things have changed. Like the packaging is different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's the thing. Is the only thing that's changed is like the clothes and the haircuts.
But like, how can you pay attention when so much is speeding forward and like
because you have to make yourself do it, and that's what we're learning.
This is what was so crazy too. Is like I was watching it, and so like there was like this racist governor George Wallace. Ugh. And
Hall of Fame racist.
Yeah, he was
Hall of Fame.
He was Hall of Fame, but like what was so crazy was like he was like talking, and it was like Donald Trump was talking. Like literally
absolutely.
the same, but like the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can't think of the exact quotes, but like crazy things.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, oh, to the point where you almost are wondering like if Donald Trump studied specifically George Wallace. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, that's kind of kooky. And I was going to pitch it as a story to my friend who works at this NPR station. So I Googled it. And there was like this whole like piece in the Atlantic. It was like, and the person in the article in the Atlantic, I posted on my Twitter, but no one clicks on my links on Twitter. I'm always like posting like these really good pieces I read, and no one cares about those.
How do you know that no one clicks on them?
Well, because
you're just saying you don't get like likes or shares?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, whatever. I'm just saying, like, there's just a lot of crazy stuff. And then because we were watching that Mrs. America series, and I kept thinking like that about women's rights.
Yeah.
I was like, nothing's changed. They're trying to overturn Roe. And,
it's true.
Blah, blah, blah. And then we turned on this actual documentary, which is like different than the scripted thing, even though it was based on real things. And it was like, oh my gosh, like it's the same. Mm-hmm. And here's what's crazy. Like the best thing that I was seeing about like the civil rights movement is the best way to tackle inequality is through law and policy. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to change people's, like people who are racist.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, it's very difficult to change people's hearts and minds. It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
Oh no, I read.
But it's got to be done. But you can't force that with law. Law is just there to protect people who are otherwise
law
defenseless.
Is neutral, but it's the people that enforce the laws that you have to trust. Unfortunately.
Well, yes, yeah, and that's why we find ourselves in the situation we're in today.
But like the hearts and minds things, like I read this book last year. It was like really good. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was like this guy who is a white supremacist. And it's called Rising Out of Hatred. And I mean, he wasn't just like a white supremacist. Like he was born into like the whole like, center of white supremacy. Mm-hmm. Like his godfather is David Duke.
Jesus.
Is that his name?
Yeah,
David Duke. Okay. And they were like grooming him like to be like maybe even possibly like in politics, and he was like super. He's still alive. He's like so super bright. He's like super intelligent, and he went to college, and like that was like a big deal. Like that he was like, I want to go to college, and so he went to college, and he made this diverse group of friends there, kind of like just by proximity and stuff, and over time, they kept like inviting him to these like Seder dinners. He had a Jewish girlfriend and everything, but he still held firm to these ideals because like they don't identify as racist per se. Like they basically like believe that it's okay to think that their races are different, but that they should just live separately. Like their like fantasy would be able to own like a island of white people or something like that. Yeah. So like this is how like kind of like, you know, and then they point out like, oh, they're different in these ways or whatever. And then he basically over time and he got outed like in his college campus as a white supremacist. And it was like hard, like, cause they like ostracized him. And then he finally came to grapple with his ideas and his values, and he changed his values over time. And he paid like a very steep personal cost for it because his family like turned their back on him. Like he had to essentially give up his family.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so then this like
I'm sure though it was more of a loss to realize, oh, my family they're irredeemably racist.
Well, I'm sure you don't want to think of them as irredeemably racist. I'm sure you want to think of them as like maybe like a crack opening where you could try to like.
I know,
but
like, if they turn their backs on you, what are you supposed to do?
I mean, it's almost like a cult, really, because like when you talk about it in those terms, like those patterns are similar, like in cult groups and stuff like that. Especially like the ostracization. Anyway, this book is amazing. He didn't write it. He, an award-winning journalist wrote his story.
Right.
So it's like, it reads like a really great, you know what I mean? Like it's not like, you know, but he has since like spoken up very vocally about his transformation, and it's kind of neat. But so like hearts and minds can change, but it took like people reaching out to him, and also he was young.
Yeah.
You know, although I have seen stories of older people changing. But like I don't know. There's no one magic thing. There's no like one magic thing.
No, of course
and
not.
it takes like, it's a gradual kind of process of like continually questioning, you know, because these are like college kids where they were like constantly discussing ideas and like, you know, like hashing it out and debating. And so like it caused him to really think, but you have to be dealing with someone who's a thinker in the first place, I think.
Well, here's the thing. There is that, but I believe that people can change. They have to want to change. And I think we assume that people they get set in their ways and that's it. This is the type of person they are forever. And I don't think that that's true. I think that people can change. I think a lot of people don't want to change because they think it's harder than it actually is.
But do you think there has to be sort of an inherent intelligence that somebody has in order to have the capacity to change?
I think that an open mind and intelligence are not necessarily the same thing.
I wonder, because I think you can be very fearful, and that can come from sort of a lower intelligence.
Yeah, but
out of survival.
But a fearful person can be shown that they don't need to be afraid of something.
But they have to be willing to trust. And I think it's hard to trust.
I don't know. I mean, that's...
But the other side of this
whole conversation is cuckoo.
I will say the other side of this before we take our little break to get a drinky drink is he talked about how they very specifically pivoted from being called white supremacists to white nationalists because it's a more palatable term for the like mainstream, because they're and
it's very palatable.
Well, because they want to infiltrate politics, right? So they're sort of
here's what's so funny to me is they kept the white part.
Right.
Like that's the part that gives it all away.
I know. I know. And I'm sure they equate it to all that black identity stuff, like out of the civil rights, but it's not the same thing because it's a false equivalency.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, like they were enslaved people that we brought over here,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're like, and they're like stuck in America because like generations to come because of the sin of slavery.
That's
it's
right.
not the same at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Look, all I could say is the Irish were slaves too. Okay, we're going to take a break.
Yay!
All right, we're back. We took a break.
Oh my God. We only took a 5-minute break, guys. This is not, he's pretending.
Let me tell you a story about 1968, the year I was born.
Wow.
So I was at a restaurant called the Hamburger Hamlet.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that place.
Yeah, which I don't think is around anymore. I think the last one finally closed. But it was
It was
famous,
like in L.A.
Yeah, famous LA chain. And I was out to dinner. I ordered a beer. The waitress asked to see my ID.
Mm-hmm.
Very flattering. This was many years ago. And so I gave her my ID, and she said, "Oh, 1968, you were born in the summer of love." And I said, "Oh, I thought that 1967 was the summer of love," which I knew that it was.
Okay.
And she went, "No, 1968." She got like instantly very prickly. "No, 1968 was the summer of love." And I said, "Well, you know what they say, if you," she said, "I should know because I was there."
Oh, she was at Haight-Ashbury during the Summer of Love? And she forgot what year it was?
Well, but I don't know.
She was highly...
Hold on. She said, "No, 1968 was the summer of love. I should know I was there." And I said, "Well, you know what they say, if you can remember the 60s, you weren't really there," which is an old expression.
Oh, right. Yeah, it sounds like, yeah.
And she said, "No, I was there and I do remember."
Maybe she was one of those CIA operatives that were offering people acid.
That's right.
At the Haight-Ashbury. Wait, was your CIA guy? He was like, "Charles."
Listen, Charlie, we got a dynamite idea for you. This is groovy. Get a load of this.
You were like, "Try this paper drug or whatever." Right?
Do you want to eat this paper that makes you feel like God is talking to you?
That guy deserves an entire animated series.
One of the things I love is like the fine line between government conspiracies that I can get on board with and say, yes, our government is capable of great evil. And then other things, it's almost like the ancient aliens theory where it's like, well, these people couldn't have done this. The Manson family couldn't have done this. It must have been the CIA programmed them to do it. It's like, no, there were people who were murderers.
What's this alien?
Ancient Aliens. You know that TV show Ancient Aliens, which I've never seen?
No, never heard of it.
Apparently a staple of it is like wonders of the world, like the pyramids or things like that must have been created by ancient aliens.
Aren't there like alien cave drawings and stuff?
I don't fucking know. Maybe. Who knows? But this is the idea behind this is, well, it couldn't have been these black people that built this stuff.
Right, like in the...
Yeah, they were too primitive. It must have been a far advanced civilization. It's the only explanation.
I don't know. That doesn't fly. There's too many things. So they built Notre Dame too or whatever?
That's a great theory.
I mean, we built a lot of things. Humans have built a lot of things. Like really big things that I've seen with my own eyes.
What, they built the New York Casino in Las Vegas?
They built
exact replica of the Statue of Liberty in 1/4 scale? No way.
I'm so happy I have my Tito's right now.
I know you got.
So wait, so the CIA, the animated, so like you're a CIA agent, and then there's like an animated Charlie Manson.
An animated Charlie Manson.
Well, you're the animated CIA guy, and it's like a buddy.
I miss something? This is a show. Oh, you're proposing a.
Yeah.
I see.
It's like a
and one of the series regulars is Charles Manson.
Well, who else are you trying to like? He's trying to appeal to you're trying to appeal to his better angels, and he's like, no, I want to murder.
Wait, the CIA guy's trying to get Charles Manson to not murder?
Oh, you're right. He's got to get him to murder. He's got to get him to murder. Dang it. Well, do you think that whole like idea, that conspiracy was like born out of like, no, I want it to be the government. I don't want it to be hippies because hippies were supposed to be about love.
Yeah, probably something like that. I mean,
but like Charlie Manson was very obviously a troubled psychopath that was in and out of jail.
Yes. And look, there's so many examples of weird, crazy narcissists.
Yes.
Who attract all these people to them.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be the government.
Yes.
There's like a million examples.
I talk about this in therapy. In fact, I just did 2 days ago about how, because I was talking about how I feel like I'm easily manipulated, because I want to believe in the good of people. Like I want so bad. I have this longing to believe. And I was like, I'm scared I could be inducted into a cult. And then, and my therapist said that she said Paul or I would get in the way first.
I'm glad she included me.
She did. She said, no, I think Paul or I would. And I was like, well, what if Paul was the one trying to, like, what if he became radicalized into something and he was trying to like recruit me? Oh, where are you going to get a sacred text?
Yeah, I want to show you something.
See, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. I gave you the opening. You're going to show me a manifesto or something.
It's going to change your life. It's going to change both our lives.
You know what? My life's already been changed by 2020, so I'm good. I'm cool. I don't need to.
You think that, but wait till you hear what the glorious one
What is
says.
that? What's the glorious one? Oh, wait. That's who I'm joining. That's the cult I'm joining, the glorious ones.
It's not a cult.
It sounds like a rock band. It doesn't sound like
The glorious ones.
the glorious ones. Doesn't it?
Is that a good name for a band? The glorious ones.
Or isn't that a thing already? The
That is a
glorious
pretty good
ones?
one.
Isn't the name of something like a piece of literature, the glorious ones?
Not that I'm aware of. Are you thinking of Inglorious Bastards?
I think I did see that movie. Unfortunately. For someone who is not a Tarantino fan.
You sure have seen a lot of his movies.
I have seen, and I don't want to see them.
It's up to you, honey.
I don't know.
Me and your therapist can't help you out on this one.
Well, anyway, there is a documentary coming out that I heard about the movie Showgirls. And
Oh, yes.
it's called Call Me Know Me.
Call Me Know Me.
Wait, what is it called?
You Don't Know Me?
You Don't Know Me.
N-O-M-I.
Okay, here's the thing, y'all. I've never seen Showgirls, although our friends want to do like a Zoom.
Oh, you've never seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
We should watch it.
Really?
Yeah, if you've never seen it, we should watch it.
I
It's a
thought you
crazy
told
movie.
me not to watch. I thought I asked you. I think I remember asking you, like, I've never seen it. Should I see it? And you're like, you're not
Are you
missing.
sure it was Showgirls? There might have been something else.
I don't know. I've never seen it, but I know about it. I know of it.
I also might have said that pre-quarantine. Now you should watch everything.
Well, it definitely was pre-quarantine. Showgirls did not come up until today.
But you're saying it came up before.
It came up like years ago.
Yeah.
Like years ago where everyone was like, oh
Your
my
story
God.
changes.
It never changed. That was the story. I had never seen Showgirls and I was like, should I see it? And you were like, I think it's, whatever. I think you were like, whatever about it. Like you didn't give me the hard sell.
I might have been. Well, I don't think I'm giving you the hard sell right now.
I wish you were.
Why?
Because I feel like I missed a piece of pop culture and all this documentaries coming out.
Absolutely. Well, look, that's how I felt about Top Gun. Because there was a bunch of movies that came out in the 80s when I was a kid.
Top Gun is a very good movie.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and the sequel's coming out like this summer or something.
I don't think that's coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll be on like they're not going to do.
Is it finished? I mean, I don't think they're going to release it on video. I think they want it to be in theaters. So I don't think it's going to come out until.
I heard Tom Cruise was coronavirus resistant.
Who'd you hear that from? David Miscavige?
Where's Shelley Miscavige?
Where is Shelley?
Where's Shelley Miscavige? You know what? How can they not figure that out? Do you know her? Do you know all about this?
Oh, I hoped you wouldn't ask me this.
You know where she.
I can't answer on mic.
But do you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Listeners, okay. Here's the thing, so you don't have to Google.
There's this guy, L. Ron Hubbard.
This guy, L. Ron Hubbard.
Scientology.
He wrote a book called Dianetics.
Just science.
He invented a religion. This is like our cult theme.
There's this guy Jesus. He wrote a book called Christianity.
He wrote the science fiction book, and it turned into a religion because he basically got the government to let him not pay taxes.
He was a huckster. He was a con man.
He was a con man. And anyway, so he started this whole, like, I guess, religion. And
cult.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you say cult now?
I don't know. You're a good point. It's a good point.
I'm a good point.
And then he like died, and then there was sort of like a leadership vacuum, and this like really short guy, nothing against short people, but I guess he has a Napoleonic complex or something. But like he is sort of like a tyrannical narcissist, and he took over the cult. And his wife has been missing now for like years.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it is like there's all this secrecy and shielding that goes on with this organization.
Here's what's funny to me. I just started picturing someone learning about Scientology from this podcast.
You know what's well, there might be people in other. Okay,
you never know. Know.
But wait, that's an excellent example because like Leah Remini, she's an ex-Scientologist. There's been several like high-profile ex-Scientologists because they actually went specifically targeted. They went after celebrities, and Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. But they like recruited these celebrities because they wanted their money, and they also
wanted their fame to expand their whole thing.
Yes, they wanted. Yes, they wanted.
Yes,
they wanted to capitalize on social status and stuff. And so, some people got out, and like Leah Remini is sort of a high-profile person who got out, and she wrote this book. That's how I like I read her book, and she had the series and everything. And but she does this whole series about people who left Scientology, and that's what I'm saying about like the cult, like changing your heart and your mind. Like if you are a deranged like white person that over identifies with being white, and like and whiteness as a pathology, you know, like if you're some like, you know, psycho white person, and it's a spectrum, obviously, then there is a chance that you could turn around because like these Scientologists had moments where totally the scales just like fell from their. Yes. It's a fascinating docuseries.
That type of life-changing moment happens to people every day for various things and in various capacities.
It's so sad though that they feel this sense of trauma that's really hard to heal because they'd been, you know, they'd like believed. I mean, that's how we all are going to feel about America in about 3 weeks, 6 months. Like the scales fall from our eyes, and we're like, the experiment is over. Like we live in a military state. Like Trump has like weaponized the military against us, which we saw a glimpse of during the demonstrations when he cleared the White House area for that photo op, which has caused so many people to speak out against him that wouldn't have.
All the generals and everything.
I thought we were going to have a military coup. I was like ready. I was like, what is this going to look like? I'm cool.
What's so funny to me is that, I don't know, the military's so weird, man. It's so weird. And I come from not a military family, but my father and my brother served, and my nephews both did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it's just like they have to do what they are. The higher ups do, the president is the commander in chief. The higher ups have to do what they are told, and so, if they are told to go to war, they go to war. But they've been used by presidents for bullshit reasons for
strongman,
years.
Yeah.
And then this time it was like this particular guy, used them in this particular way, and then the generals are like, I don't like this.
Well, I know you said that, and you have like cynicism about it, and rightly so. However,
it's not cynicism. It's more. It makes me mad. It makes me angry.
I know, but there's such a huge difference between using them against the people that pay their paychecks than against using them against perceived foreign enemies.
Well, but
don't you think that's different?
No, because they're going the perceived foreign enemies. First of all, Iraq was not a real was not an enemy,
right?
Do you know what I mean? And no one literally perceived them as such.
Oh, they did for a minute when they presented that yellow cake uranium.
Yeah, they said they did.
BS.
They wanted us to perceive them.
Yes.
That way.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they actually were like, we're worried about Iraq. We got to do something. But then there's also tons of civilians who get killed in these bullshit wars. Mm-hmm. That's a big problem. And that to me is the same as, using force against U.S. taxpayers. Here's what I will grant you. I will grant you that the idea of turning on your own people,
yes,
for a photo op is beyond repugnant.
It's Banana Republic.
Yeah.
It's like the Philippines.
Isn't it funny how Beyond Repugnant and Banana Republic sound so much
Banana Repugnant. Banana Repugnant.
Banana Repugnant.
Banana Repugnant.
That's a good band name.
Banana Repugnant. Hey guys, we're Banana Repugnant.
We have a song with our name in it.
Banana Repugnant.
All right, we should probably wrap it up.
What? I just got my Tito's going.
That's why.
Wait. There was more I wanted to say about the military.
Well, so this has gotten people to speak out that normally wouldn't speak out, is what you were saying before.
Yes, and also like using a parallel of people who turn away from cults, who turn away from certain like distorted values or violent values or oppressive values.
Yeah.
It's possible is what I'm saying. I want to believe so bad. I'm like Anne Frank. I want to believe
absolutely
so fucking bad.
Yeah, me too.
That people are inherently good.
And
that it sometimes does cloud my thinking, and I have to be sort of like measured and stop myself.
I will say this about the generals denouncing Trump and criticizing him.
Yes.
If that makes somebody who's like a diehard Trump supporter think twice and maybe consider something they haven't considered before, then it's for the good, So,
I just assume that it does, because there's got to be somebody that like respects, like if you're in the military and that's your like, these people are revered as like the smart thinkers of the military, supposedly.
Well,
right?
they're commanders, like.
So isn't that something to aspire to if you are a career military person?
Yeah. So hopefully that means something to not just people that are in the military, but people that revere the military in that way.
I guess. I feel like I think like with any group, it's probably true that it's just like not monolithic. Like people have their own beliefs and they go to it for different reasons, and and they find their tribe in there, and
Look, the upshot of it all is, and this is what I think we have proven with this episode, we should not be talking about this stuff.
Well, we're not like thought leaders. We're just
God,
dumb entertainment.
Guys,
we're just like middle class.
We're just dumb middle class
entertainment
professionals.
Underemployed. Yeah.
Overprivileged.
But maybe that's something that is good in a way because we're average. Like we're not.
I think when people think of average Americans, we're the people they have in mind for sure.
Well, I don't know. What are averages? Maybe. Okay, fine. This has been an amazing episode.
Do you have any recommendations? Anything you want to recommend?
Yes, Eyes on the Prize. Go to Canopy, watch it all. Also, I've been into season 2 of my brilliant. I think I talked about My Brilliant Friend on the last one, didn't I? My Brilliant Friend.
Yeah.
It's a series of 4 books by Elena Ferrante, and I read them all. And now it's a miniseries on HBO, and they just released the second season of it, and it's Italian, and they're like, it's just like so much. I can't even get into it, but it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And if you have HBO, I guess, they were giving HBO for free for a little while during the COVID.
Oh, that's nice.
But I don't know if they're still doing it.
Probably not.
Well, because they released that HBO Max, which I could give 2 shits about.
HBO Max, if you're listening, sorry.
HBO Max, I have a pilot I just wrote. You might be interested in it. I might give a shit about you if you did.
I have a recommendation, which is a podcast that I just started listening to by these 2 Australian comedians.
Okay.
They are a couple, and they have been doing a podcast. I don't know how far back.
Are they a couple in
goes.
quarantine?
They're a couple in quarantine. But I think their podcast might predate the quarantine. Their names are Demi Lardner and Tom Walker.
I know who Demi. I saw Demi in Edinburgh.
Yeah, and I met her.
She's outrageous, man.
She's outrageous. I met her in Montreal, the Just for Laughs festival years ago.
She has a crazy brain.
Yeah, she does. And Tom Walker, her boyfriend, also crazy brain. He has a great special on Amazon Prime right now.
Cool.
Called Tom Walker is Very, Very, I believe. It's hilarious. And it's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's really funny. But they have a podcast together that's called, this is the title, BigSoftTitty.png. Now,
there's a story behind that.
There must be. I don't know. It's not. If I didn't know who they were and I saw that title,
you would not listen
I would
to
never
it.
listen to it in a
right.
million years.
You would not listen to it.
And it's honestly, it's probably the raunchiest thing I listened to.
Oh, they get raunch.
They get raunchy, but they're really silly and they're really smart and funny. And they're very adorable.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
That's cool.
Here's my recommendation. BigSoftTitty.png.
So just to recap, Janie recommended Eyes on the Prize, and then Paul recommended BigSoftTitty.png. All right, cool.
There we go.
All right, so.
The melting pot. So, hey, thank you for bearing with us for this episode. We
don't know. We have nothing to offer.
Yeah, I mean, we
have nothing to offer, but something.
We're trying to figure it out just like everybody else is, and I'm glad that we did this. I hope
just love each other. Just be kind.
Yeah, and fight for what's right and stand
Fucking
up
vote,
man. Stand up for people.
Vote. Get people to vote. We gotta get
people to vote, but we also stuff needs to change. #defund the police.
And
so thank you for listening. And we'll be back next week, hopefully.
I don't know what's happening. Stay safe. Stay sane. And stay home.